given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural, metaphysical, paranormal. You know, all those things you've been wondering about? Are you ready to go deeper into the realms of the unknown? I hope you've got your walking shoes on, because life is an adventure, and this is the journey. Come on, let's go. Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. This is the Journey Radio Show, and I'm Jen Cruz, your host. Hey, we're showing up as the She Squatchers, and I've got my trusty teammates on the line. Hi, Jenna, are you there?
I am here. Happy, happy day.
Hi, and we've got Tammy Tricolis with us as well.
Hi, everybody.
Yay! Hi, Tammy. And tonight we have a very
Hi.
special, and we have our special guest Ken Collins. Hi, Ken.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to the show.
I'm on my audios. I can barely hear you guys, so I'm really trying.
Okay, well, we can hear you just fine. So hopefully you can hear me.
Boy, I can hear you barely.
Okay. Well, it's important that we can hear you, and that's what's important. So we hear you just fine. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started into Bigfoot research, Ken?
Yes. I actually started in my 20s in the Colorado Springs area. I actually, when I was probably about 15, I had a chance to go see a movie, and it was a flick, and I'm not even sure what that was then, but it was a chance to go see a movie. There was a friend's birthday party next door. So we go into a town, and there's Planet of the Apes and Legend of Boggy Creek on. So four of us, three of them went to go see Planet of the Apes, and I went to go see Legend of the Boggy Creek. And when the movie let out, they were all running around town acting like monkeys and apes, whatever. I was walking around in shock. I was basically thought I saw the boogeyman. Well, that actually exceeded. That put something in me. That seeded me. That made me. From there, I just had to find out more. And my grandfather had raised me on a small farm in Nebraska, and his health required us to move. So we go into the Colorado. So I'm now headed from the cornfields into the Rocky Mountains with a desire to someday go back and be a researcher. And basically, that's what got me going, was the Legend of Boggy Creek. I really started that thrive and that zest to go and learn more. So that's what got me started.
Well, that's exciting. So then what happened? I know that in the bio that you sent me, you've seen Bigfoot 4 times in all these years. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those experiences?
Yes. So the move to the Colorado Springs area in my 20s, I started through the Broadmoor, South Cheyenne Canyon, just up into the 11-mile canyon. And finally, I had a chance to go into Divide, Colorado. And up in Divide, I would go into this place called the Fluorescent Fossil Beds. And in my the Pikes Peak area is right there too, and it's right behind Pikes Peak. And all those years I would get things, and I just could never get the sighting. I just could never get the actual sighting. So we moved. I finally was married in my 30s, and my wife is a nurse, and we said, let's move. So we moved to Estes Park, Colorado in 2009. Um, I brought my research there, and my wife at that time didn't know what I was doing. I didn't tell my wife for 10 years what I did. When we moved to the Estes Park area, she never she had no idea I was moving up to do research. She was going to a small hospital, and I was going to work for the local business there. She didn't even have a clue that Bigfoot was even involved in any of this. I couldn't tell her, guys, for a lot of years, for at least 10.
Oh
Well,
my goodness.
my sighting came one day in my job. I have a famous Bigfoot wall. I am the Bigfoot guy in Estes Park. I have a wall there that brought in a lot of the locals, and it brought in a lot of the sightings around there that I can go and investigate. And one particular person that I became friends with was a fly guide. He was a fisherman down there in the Big Thompson Canyon. As you come up to Estes Park, you go through a beautiful canyon called the Big Thompson. Well, he was a fly guide down in the canyon, and he comes to me one day and he says, "You got to go to where I'm staying and I'm camping." And we just had an incident where Bigfoot walked through, and my wife and my kids seen it. I seen it at the bottom as I was coming in to the site, this area they were camping, and then it ran up and it ran past my kid and my wife. And I think you could go there and try to get some. So I did the old habituation. After the gentleman had left the area to go on to somewhere else because the season was done, I stayed in there, and I was getting footprints. I was getting, uh, I had a tracker come in, and the dog would track. Just the signs were all there, so I just kept it up. I went to the site basically more than I worked and more than I stayed at home. I habituated it. I wanted them to get familiar with me. I wanted them to look at me and say, that's different. You know, they just let me have it one day. What I mean by that is on January 7th, 2013, I go into the area, and as I go in, I'm always thankful. And I tell them I'm here, and they'll give me something today. So I'm just doing my routine that I've been doing for 3 months. On that morning at 9:30 in the morning, I'm cutting through my field, and to my right is a pasture. Beyond that, aspen. Behind that aspen's a rock cropping. About 85 yards out, I know because I have a viewfinder. Now, I'm not looking through the viewfinder at that moment. What I'm doing on this is I come back later and do all the measurements. I'm about 85 yards out. I look to my right. If my peripheral vision caught a black object, what it is, it had snowed the night before, and that black just stuck out. I turned and looked, put my camera up because I've always got my camera ready. I took my camera up, guys, I zoom it in, and he's looking at me. This is a little guy, and I just took click one picture. And then I'm like, what's wrong with me? I went in to a meltdown. I went into something that was like, I'm trying to grasp now. Good Lord, he's right there. All these years, my God, there he is. But what the heck is wrong with me? I'm walking back to my truck. I'm walking back to the place where I'm like, well, what's wrong? Why am I not staying here? I got in my truck, started it. drove away, and something in the back of my head that kept saying, "Come back another day. Come back another day." I just, guys, I was just trying to wrap myself around. My God, they're here. It's real. It's right in front of me, and I couldn't take it. And big old Bigfoot guy went away. Now I've been doing this 30 years. At that time, before I had that sighting, sorry, I was in it for over 20, and um, I never accepted mind blasting, or they could put a mojo on you, or they could do some type of something to you. And I accepted years later. That's what happened. That thing had put me in a disorientation, um, looking at him. And so I got mad. I said, "Gosh darn it, I didn't do that right. My way of doing it was wrong." A lot of years I've thrown a lot of my stuff out by not doing it right. Unorthodox ways, not charting, getting getting stuff you wouldn't believe. So in that area, I go back. It wasn't too much longer that I went back, because I'm mad now. I'm like, "Geez, you didn't do this right. Come back and get more." So I continue my research in there, and about 3 weeks later, guys, I'm in the same area, and lightning does strike twice and sometimes. And in that same area, guys, I'm jumping off my gifting rock. I have a rock there that I do place gifts on. I've even had David Plottis from Mixing 411, my buddy, go out and put rocks and coins on that rock. It's a special rock to me because my buddy Dave that took time to come with me, and we made a gifting rock. And so I'm jumping off that rock that I went back. And you know what, guys? I went back in the daytime, and this second sighting was noon. So 9:30 the first sighting, noon about the second one. Nocturnal, or whatever you guys want to say about the eye shine stuff, whatever. Done this a long time, and I don't believe in this red, and then you go out and you're with these, they whatever. But that's another story. But on this second sighting, as I jump off my gifting rock, I hear a type of a human whimper. And in them days, my camera is always on my chest. I mean, it's ready to turn around, because I used to be the kind of guy, take pictures, go home, circle them, and go, "There's a Bigfoot." No, that's not the way you get a Bigfoot, by circling pictures. So, but my camera is always ready to take the picture up chest high. So when I turn, I take things. I just, at this moment, guys, when I heard the whimper, I turned around enough to turn around, and that one that I saw 3 weeks prior, he is looking at me again around a rock. And he's got his nose the same situation as he had the first time. He didn't show his chin or nothing. He was sneaky about it. And it's in daytime. I'm like, I see you right there. But he's still trying to be hiding. It's just showing his nose and his eyes. The second sighting, he did the same thing. And at that moment, a big red carbon color 8-foot Sasquatch comes busting out of behind a tree at me. He didn't come at me. He went at an angle. So he took a couple steps, and when he turned and looked at me, I thought I was looking at a Cro-Magnon man. I thought I was looking at, he didn't look to be well. He's kind of skinny. I mean, as far as lanky, but he was big, and his arm swung up. And when his arm swung up, I took the picture. And then I just said, "Oh my God, all he has to do is take 3 steps. He's off that rock and jumped right on top of me." And so I backpedal, and I'm backing up. And I lose him because I'm looking at the other one, because he's around a rock looking at me. And I was like, "Oh my God, look at the glistening of his sagittal crest, how it was just beautiful." He's black, and the smaller one was But the big one was red. And when he looked over, those eyes, it was like a look of disgust and contempt. It was like, I'm disgusted with you. You're banging around this area for 3 months looking for me. Here I am. And I was like, dear God, all these years, and there he is. And he's 20 feet from me, not even. And all he had to do was take a couple steps and jump on top of me and stop me. He didn't do that. Don't have anything to do with that. I went back after that. And I didn't go back out for a while. I stopped. Actually, I just continued doing things. I just didn't go back out in the field. I was that shocked. It shook me. And I got back out, but it took a elderly couple to come into my station and look at my Bigfoot wall. And they're talking to me about South Park, where they lived in Colorado, and they would get Bigfoots walking on their property. And the elderly lady said, I casted a print and I had to use flour. And I thought, that's neat. If you had to cast a print, you didn't have nothing, you didn't know what you were doing, you used flour, and she cast it. She goes, could you take me out? Well, I took him out. We got a third area down near Estes Park. We have a little town below us, and we go there a lot to get to an area, and we open up another investigation, meeting these people. That's where I saw it the third time. I have friends from Italy that come every year, and we got them down in there with us. One day, Steve O sends me a picture. Kenny, we got a Bigfoot down there, and I'm looking at the pictures like, my God, he's got a Bigfoot. And so we went down in that area and stayed for almost a year, guys, of getting footprints, vocalizations, sightings. The government came in, the government around here in Colorado came in and shut me down, put a gate up, put a lock up, and said, we know what you're doing down here. We don't want you, you can't stop you from walking in here, coming in here, but we're going to stop you from. It was like they cut me off, guys. They knew what I was doing, because on that first sighting I had in 2013, I took all of my stuff to the Park Service. What a mistake that was. They were like, get out of here. We don't want nothing to do with you. And I'm like, we have 4 million people come through here a year. Maybe a few might be interested in this. They're like, nah, we don't want any of that around here. So Park Service shunned me. I went through a lot of ridicule in this town for a while. But I sponsored 6 events and finally got my own event called Bigfoot Days. They finally came around, But anyways, the third sighting, guys, was down in this area close to Estes Park. It's my third site area. And I had this other couple with me. We got so much stuff. We got, like I said, I one night had the BFRO come up, Bigfoot Research Organization of Colorado, good friends with them. They come up, do an investigation, and they get weirded out. They leave the area. I go back in, and that night, and I get a Bigfoot who's throwing rocks at me, and he did a perfect little whoop, just as beautiful as you could do. That's why when I do my Bigfoot calls, I do whoops. No, I don't do this, whoa. Because you know what? I heard a beautiful whoop, and that's what I always will remember. But so, yes, I've had 4 sightings, and I've had some incidents up in Bailey, Colorado in September when I saw my 4th one. And it was a juvenile. I have it on a Gen 3 scope. And the juvenile is walking towards a blue orb. I got the picture of the orb. I have 2 other gentlemen in my group with me, and he got the picture of the orb also. So what I saw that night as a juvenile was, it was about 4 feet high. It was walking up we could hear it walk up the ravine. And when I was turned over watching this orb, this thing. When I turned to get my Gen 3 that way, this 4-foot juvenile was walking towards that orb. So when I go back to talk about when I got mind blasted in this field, it takes a lot to make me think, this is what happened. And to see a blue orb, and Ron Moorhead, my buddy, talks about that orb he saw at the Sierra Sounds and these orbs. And I'm like, I've never thought, I've done so much interviews with hunters and eyewitnesses out there, and they talk about these orbs and how it affects them. But that was in all my years, the orb in Bailey, that was the most powerful. I just put everything together for me. It's like maybe there is a connection. I know I've been out there and found footprints that are just single, and they go. Where do they go? They go somewhere and they stop. It's like, where do they go from here? Did they then climb up no tree? What happened to them? So you think sometimes, where do they go? I mean, why do they just disappear like that? The prints, but yeah. So a lot of sightings, a lot of field work, a lot of getting out there and not on the computer. I didn't know about all of this. I had a hard time tonight getting Skype. I did it. I'm so impressed that I did that because I don't have any type of skills like that. And but the my motto was always, it's about the education, not the glorification. And so I spent a lot of years in the now I'm sharing, and I'm sharing my stuff. And there was a time when I was the guy that sat in the back and watched everyone, didn't say nothing. It was just the guy that, mud on my boots and a print in my hand, and just happy as can be and content not to do any of this. You're only maybe my second podcast, but you women and what I do research, you guys are great. And I really appreciate you, getting me on tonight. And just know that, I have over 30 years in this, and I've seen a lot. I've seen the dog man one time up in a tree, and I just did a podcast on that, and I never talked about that incident with the dog man. But there's a lot of stuff out there that we think we're going to find the answers for, and so many questions pop up. You just don't figure it out. So, from Nebraska or from Colorado, I moved just recently to Nebraska. We have a museum here in Hastings with Harriet McFeely, and she's 75, and what a gift. And so, I've taken my years, and now I'm kind of getting older, and I'm going to be 60 soon. And, I look to do conferences and share what I experienced. And there's so much more. But in a nutshell, if you go out and you want to do this, do it right. Don't do things like I've done. A lot of my stuff went out the door on sloppiness. And what I mean by that is deleting things, not charting, not when, time. Everything is that's important that I've learned. And what got me to stop going home and circling pictures and photos and there was one was I had a good friend, Dennis Holes from the Erickson Project, come in, not be off our old buddy, and round me out and get me away from that. So I look at things different now. It's not always about the trees, the sticks, and even footprints. And I'm very good on footprints. I love footprints. I have a site area that I've been in for 5 years studying a family that's growing, and the footprint's the same because the same characteristics are in that footprint. And it's up in the Steamboat Springs area in the flat tops of Colorado, very remote. But I'm just saying, I do other studies, and uh, um, in the remote Rocky Mountains, well, people don't go. And I'm just to share some of my stuff. You can go on. I have a site called Bigfoot Loose USA / Facebook. You can go on there and see all these videos that I've done, and just a lot of years of this. And um, yeah, so yeah, been at it quite a while. Seen a lot, met a lot of good people. It's about how you surround yourself with good researchers, and they season me. And I'm so lucky to have that in my realm. I have it under in my umbrella. I have good people. Um, so I'm really excited. I do 2 events now. I do my Colorado event in Estes Park called Bigfoot Days, and now I do my Nebraska event, and we have fun. And it's learning more every day. Like I say, you think you might know a lot, but you think you go look for the answers, but you just get more questions. So
So where is your event in Nebraska?
okay, that's gonna be April 22nd, 23rd. Excuse me. It's gonna be an outdoor event. We had Igor coming from Russia, but I don't think that he'll make it because of the traveling restrictions. So we are working on our itinerary. I think Lyle Blackburn's going to come, and we'll try to get Harvey's Pratt's a good friend of ours, and maybe Ron Moorhead. But we're working on that itinerary. We'll have it out, and Harriet should have that done pretty soon. And that's an event that would be our 4th year minus last year, but so.
Awesome. And where is that located?
Oh, it's in Hastings, Nebraska, and then that's Nebraska, Crossroads of America, Bigfoot Conference, and then my other event is called Bigfoot Days, and that's in Estes Park. Now we were going to schedule that to run the weekend after this one, but Estes Park, they kind of changed things. We'll probably push it to the summer. So that event we won't have, but we do have that Nebraska event scheduled, guys, and we do have, we'll have a set itinerary pretty soon here. So
That sounds fantastic. That sounds like fun. That
oh
sounds
yeah,
like we've actually investigated in Nebraska before.
yeah, you probably over in Macy, right?
We were actually at Indian Cave State Park,
Oh, good,
which
okay,
I just looked up, and it's about 3 hours from Hastings, Nebraska.
yeah.
Have you have you been out there?
No, actually, with me being home, I moved from here, and I've been gone. I went back to Colorado to do some construction work for 6 months. I just got back and been home a week now. But prior uh, moving here, I didn't get out much. I went down to the Republic River one day and found a print the first day. It was like, wait a minute, my cornfields in Nebraska, my home state that I was born in. I'm coming back, and I'm going to show we have flatland Bigfoots. We have them coming through here. Not many, and maybe we're right in the middle of the United States there. You seem like you put your finger and we're just right in the middle of it. But they're here, and I would like to bring that awareness more. And I love to go to nursing homes and the vets and children and just do parties. And it's more about the education now. But yeah, this Nebraska event, it's it's something that Harriet puts a lot of time in, and for a person her age, and we had Bob Gimlin a few years ago. Oh man, we had fun with that guy, and Bobo, and we just have fun getting everybody together and sharing things, and yeah.
Well, that sounds like a great time. We love events. We go all over sometimes. So if you ever want us to come, let us know.
You guys are more than welcome, and I'd like to get over to Macy sometime that way, and then Nabara, Nebraska. We hear a lot of reports coming from that way. So it would be interesting to have you ladies, and we go out, and even in Colorado, if you guys want to come up there, I've been doing some filming with Ron Myers, who's did some chasing Bigfoot, and the guys have also a place, a site called filming for Trails to the Unknown, and so luckily I've been out, and I love to take you guys up to that area. It's in near Estes Park, and it's very squatchy, and we'd love to get you guys up there and show you around sometime.
Oh, that would be
And in
fantastic.
Nebraska, and I'm going to learn more about down here. And I do have a field researcher here named Art, and Art started about a year ago getting serious, and he's really got his nose to the grind in Nebraska now, and he's always gets reports, and he goes out and he's investigating. That's what we look for. That's what we look for, to season people. I was just the same way as him. Everything was a Bigfoot, and every tree branch was a break, and there was a Bigfoot behind it, and that was the days I kind of miss. But
Oh, that sounds great. We have to take a 2-minute commercial break right now, so stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. All right, so we're on commercial break, but we're still recording the video, so everything that happens during this time is going to end up online at some point.
Okay, I have to interrupt here. I've been waiting to find out what the heck your wife said.
Wait, no. Can you turn on your camera?
I don't have I have a new Dell. I don't know where my camera. I don't have a. Okay. Oh, you mean on my phone?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Okay. Well, I didn't do it, huh?
Not yet.
Do you see?
Wow, I can hear you so much better now.
Yeah, I can hear you so much better.
Wow, technology here, Ken. Okay, well, I'm afraid to press any buttons because I'm disconnect you.
Okay, well then we'll just keep it the way it is.
So you was wondering? Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no,
we should wait.
Yes.
We should wait till we're back to the. We'll wait till we're back to the show so the listeners on the radio can hear your question, Jenna.
Yes, I'm sorry. I always pre-ask, and then we go to ask on live, and then that just doesn't come out right, or the answer is different. So you're right.
So yeah, you're doing great. The show ends at 59 minutes after, so we can switch over to the next show on the network. So when we start to hear the music playing, then we know that the show is coming to an end.
How long do we have?
So now we're listening for Sarge to tell us when we're back on the air live. So we have to just kind of be quiet and wait for him to tell us. Otherwise, we won't hear him.
Go.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. This is the Journey Radio Show. And hey, we're the She Squatchers. Won't you check us out online at shesquatchers.com and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We're known as She Squatchers Official. That's where you can find us. That for all of our upcoming or what's going on, all of our videos are on YouTube. Come check us out. Like our pages, subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram. I'm doing good. Tammy's excited that I'm pushing Instagram now. Woo! We've got an awesome guest tonight. We've got Ken Collins joining us. He is based out of Estes Park, Colorado, and also in Nebraska. So welcome back to the show, Ken. Jenna's got a question for you.
Oh, I have many, but I'll just ask this one. So I need to know, at the beginning of the show, you mentioned that you had not told your wife in 10 years. I need to know what she said and how she reacted.
Well, when the nurses at the hospital posted me all over the nurses station, well, she walks in and sees my picture, and the nurses said to my wife, Diane, do you know what your husband does? And Diane says, I know now. So that's what he does. So that's how she found out.
So Really, you didn't even get the chance to tell her. She just heard through the grapevine, and you were kind of just outed.
It came out in the paper, and the big Estes Park News did a big thing on it, and you'll see it on the S. If you go to Estes Park News, you'll see a viral thing a video they did on me, a couple actually, but yeah, the paper had came out and they grabbed the free town paper, and it was just like Mayberry RFD, man. It was just all over the place. It was so neat. So
See,
how
now
about
that's a lesson to be learned, people, men. I'm sorry, but
yeah, you guys, I couldn't for a lot of years share with her because I couldn't figure it out myself. How am I gonna good Christian lady? We've been married
oh,
23 years now, and she helps me now by buying me equipment, and I get better. Remember when I said earlier I threw so much out because I was so sloppy and so much
yeah.
happened, but now she gets on there and helps, and got me a thermo, and I got a recorder, and I never used trail cams, but I do have one. But I'm just saying, she's really just took it on and actually got on board with me. Than me trying not to go to her to force her on. She just got on with me, and after she found out, my goodness, guys, I almost was out a lot, and sometimes my marriage wasn't as great because of that. And I think I sacrificed a lot to get what I got, and but yeah, she's been there the whole darn time, and I don't know how.
Wow,
So
that is special. I'm so glad you guys have made it through, especially that 10-year lie. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry, honey. I just had to had to tease you.
Oh,
well,
Jenna,
well,
that's funny.
mm,
That's funny.
yeah,
So
she.
does she go out in the field with you now? And has she been able to have sightings with you?
Well, we were in a Colorado State Park up near Walden a couple years ago, and this is how she does: takes the car, she parks it, and she puts it towards the road, and she leaves it running, and she won't get out of the car. So I have to go do my thing, and she still just won't come out. She won't get out of the car. That just scares her. It does she doesn't like doing it. She just doesn't think that we're crazy. But there was an incident. I think I freaked her out because it was a time when a few years ago, like I say, we was in an area and the BFRO had on a Bigfoot standing behind a tree. So I walk up behind the investigator and I point right um, to the little machine she had on the infrared thing and whatever she's showing me. And I'm like, it's right there. So I take off because all these years I've just went, I'm going to go jump in its lap. So I take off, I head down the hill. My wife is freaking out. And but they're yelling at me, stand down, Kenny, stand down. He's right in front of you. And I'm like, I know that. But I stood down and I stopped and my wife says, why do you do stuff like that? And I'm like, she didn't like that. I'm like, well, I'm getting tired of this. Oh, it's right there. Well, then walk over there. If it's right there, walk over there. Okay. I don't care if it's daytime, night, whatever. Walk your butt over there and look and quit this stuff of, gosh. But, anyways, so she's, thinks that I'm nuts. But I stood down that night and walked back. I didn't talk to my investigator for about a year. And not too long ago, we got together and she goes, you ain't talked to me in a while. I go, yeah, I was mad at you. I was mad at you because you're yelling at me to stand down, and I wanted to jump in I wanted to go over there. And she goes, yeah, but I'm glad you listened to me. It shows you got respect for me. And I went, yeah, that's why I did it. So, we do some crazy things, but I just think that, if the thing's right in front of you, walk the hell over there. Excuse me, walk over there and look. I mean, this stuff of circling it and ooh, 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 the um, years out there, just became more. I want science more. Sorry, just this, And I've been in Kentucky. I've had them. I've been around in different places, squatching guys, of course, and in Kentucky has been most intense as far as throwing things at me. But I've been thrown at, whooped at, looked at, yelled at. I mean, it's like, and we all want that out there, but man, I just think all these years I could have done things better. Boy, I wish I could have categorized and recorded more and just did things better. But it's been good. So it's been a good. Um, I've had some good times out there, and there's still a lot more coming. So, and I just had a 85-year-old guy out in Nebraska not too long ago in the summer, and Don Monroe, and Don does horse braiding stuff. Don's an interesting guy and stuff like um, the people that I meet and stuff like him that came, pioneers that came and took me out in the field. And we're going to do a 10-day trip down the Platte River, guys. We're going to pull over and we're going to investigate the Platte River. So I'm so fortunate to have the good people that I've had, and I've good experiences that I've had. And you don't get them by sitting and watching a computer. I mean, you got to get out there and put some effort in it besides going out there and taking pictures and circling everything. And but I have an open phone number. It's on my Bigfoot Loose website. If anybody ever wants to talk about their sighting, and a lot of people see things, they don't want to talk about it. They don't know who to talk about it to. There's many times in BFRO meetings that a lot of the guys were like, had something in their hand. They were like wanting to tell, the BFRO wouldn't talk to them. These guys go talk to Ken, because you want to know, because I'll listen. I don't care what the story is. I'll listen. I'll give you the time of day. I've been there, man. I've been the guy that's been shunned and been laughed at and whatever. And I don't care. I was just like, oh, boy, I got some good stuff. But the stories, I love people's testimonies, and I just love getting now the maturing more and mature every day with this. And of course, the radio shows that you guys do and your listeners you have on, we get tons of stories. Now, I've learned over the years, I hear the same thing almost all the time. There's something to it. And it's just not I'm not just got up and fell off the truck. I've been out there in season. I can hear people. I can pull things out of people's testimonies and kind of feel things, and if they're genuine. So I've been on my phone number on that Bigfoot Loose USA. If anybody needs just to talk, and if you guys want to set up an investigation, I do have a little area. I have bigfoothikes.com, and I will do hikes to areas that I've had Bigfoot sightings, and just to show people, that want to feel, what I've been through. So it's it's great.
That sounds fantastic. I'm checking out your website right now.
Then I'll ask a question here. Do you have, I'm sure you know the hike you were talking about. Some of us ladies and gentlemen are not like Tammy, who are kickboxing, so our bodies don't quite work like that. Do you happen to have maybe like something where you could take people out and maybe bring them on a four-wheeler or something? So if someone, anyone who has problems walking or getting through, is this something that you provide, or is that something for the future?
Well, in this area, you are so correct on that. It's an area where it's not as strenuous. It's in an old shooting range, so it's got paths. It's where you can get to it if you have some type of something wrong with you. It's not a strenuous hike. This certain area that I would take the people to, and in our Nebraska. This year, I'm going to make a garden, because we had a person in a wheelchair come in one time, and she says, she goes, I wish I could go out and see the things you guys see, and I can't. And I just broke me. I was like, we're going to build a garden. We're going to I'm going to put in there things I brought out of the field, and we're going to show them what we see out there in a garden. So I like what you said, because some people, the handicapped can't get out, and the ones that are injured, and they just, or they have a physical difficulty. But yeah, would like to get a garden going this year to show that, this is what we see out here. But yeah,
Have you ever thought about taking, say, some kind of camera, even like the camera we have, that I've got a GoPro, and you can put it on your head? Have you ever thought about maybe doing some videos like that so they can actually watch through maybe a camera or focus and they can see what you're seeing when you go out?
yeah, I've had a GoPro many years. I still have it, GoPro 3, I think, and or silver, whatever it was, one of those first ones. And I did go GoPro in that big moment when GoPros were out there. But
Me too.
If you go to Bigfoot Loose USA, I got about 100 videos, and one of them is in there. I'm doing a hike up
Oh,
behind up the up on trail. It's called Black Canyon. It's behind Estes Park, and you're gonna see me. And through the video, I stop and I record, and I'm doing this. He's following me right at the end, but you got to listen to it really good. The first 3 or 4 seconds, you're gonna hear this thing go, "Moo," just this big moan, and then you're gonna see me go. You hear my breath pick up. And I'm like, "Oop, oop, get down this trail," but I do have videos like that I think I did get that on a GoPro. So I do have videos on that Bigfoot Loose USA. Um, but yeah, to carry, you're right. To get more things on film, you're gonna have to have, like you said, attachments. You're gonna have to have these cameras and all this. And normally, I have a Canon that's in my hand, and I just press record. But yeah, filming, I wish I could have done that better and gotten, you know, I mean, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I didn't film very well. I just didn't. So
well, you're doing great now. So just by offering those wonderful things, thank you.
yes,
And the
yeah.
filming, we all wish that we could do better after the fact. We're like, oh, I should have done this, and I should have used this camera, and blah blah blah. We do that too. So
You know what? How many times you went out there and you got everything charged and ready, and all of a sudden, I mean, one time there was 7 of us out there. Everything went, all power, everything. And how do you explain stuff like that when 7 of us lose all of our power and our equipment? And it's like sometimes it's just, I don't record for just because I never think you're gonna get, it's just thinking. I don't know. I just, at nights I'll do. I love to put a recorder out at night and then get and then go back through and listen to it. And I love that. Boy, I hear some stuff in there that's just. I love recordings, but I used to set out trail cams, here and there, but never ever got anything. And yeah, like Bob, when he got that. I mean, who's ever guys, were ladies, will ever get something like um, Roger and Bob had a chance like that in the day, and way Patty was walking through that sandbank, and man, I mean, we all want that, right? I mean, but you know, pictures and
maybe
videos and all that.
daytime footage,
Yeah,
broad daylight, where everybody can see it, not like going through the trees.
that's what I
Yeah.
mean. We all want that,
We
but
all
But
want that footage.
but you know what I think we all want more, and I think that these are the people that are in Bigfoot researching groups. I really think a lot of us, hopefully, are looking at Bigfoot not only as a photographer, or not only to take pictures of them or kill one or whatever people are thinking they're going to do with one, which we don't know. We don't think about that, but other people do, you know. Now you guys got me, so I can't think of what I was saying. What was I saying, you guys? You're both going, no, don't, no.
We don't want to kill Bigfoot. We are
Yes,
very anti hurting Bigfoot at all.
yes, yes, and I'm sorry I didn't push that more, but now I forgot what I was saying. There was a point.
You
well,
were saying what we want, what we all actually want,
Oh,
besides just
thank
the footage.
you. Thank you, Tammy. It's coma brain. It really wasn't a coma. So I really think that a lot of us want to have a relationship with them. It's not necessarily about all these photos, videos, everything. I want to learn. I want to meet them. I mean, look at Jane Goodall, what she accomplished just by spending time. She wasn't all out there. Well, yeah, I guess they were taking a lot of photographs and videos, but that's not what was important to her. Her importance laid upon her relationship. And I think that's what a lot of us want. I mean, isn't that true, you guys?
Yeah.
Most definitely. I mean, I would love one day to see, guys, I find track lines in the mud and then they're very straight inline track lines. They're not waddling. It's an inline trackway. One day I found one, it was about a 10-inch print, and right next to that it's a 7-inch print. I have a video on that, Bigfoot Loose USA, and you see him walking, and I always think that they were walking hand in hand, and she picked him up and you see her walk by herself and she puts it back down and then it kind of goes in a Y and they both kind of just walk off. And I think, wouldn't that been neat to see that if it was a, Bigfoot? I'm just saying, to see that interaction. You bet. I want to see that. I want to see them interact. I want to see if they're, what I saw wasn't monkey-ish. It was human. And if they're anything like us, they're like us then. And they have that passion and that anger and that everything. If they have it, if we have it, and I think that they have it, but I just think now, um, now would love to see that interaction, what they're doing out there, and their life, just to watch them. I can't, some of these people, you hear so many stories, you think, man, you're so, you just hear so many stories, and you just think I think they're curious about us, and they want to interact, but they think they know there's a limit there. I think they know that we are a threat. And the Bigfoot, have children, and they were small Bigfoots before they were big ones. So think of that, and I do put a lot of that in respect. And like I say, like you said earlier, I don't want to kill them. I go in and I say thank you, and when I leave, I say, thank you for giving me a chance. I'm very, very, um, just want to show them I'm not there. I don't carry knives. David said once, Ken, you always brag about you don't carry a gun. Well, you need that gun for the other things out there, not just Bigfoot. You need, and I'm like, I've never carried anything to go after them. I'm here to kill you today. And Justin Sema made me sick. Some of the stuff that he shooting the little ones. I can shoot a baby and walk up on it, and some of the stories out there, dryer and all those stuff like that. That stuff is what makes Bigfooting just horrible. And that stuff there, and I don't want that. I wouldn't want him to get caught. John Bingenheiser said it the best. He says if we ever found one, heck, the science would chew it up, put it through the blender, spit it out, and then come back and tell you it's not real. And he's right. He's like, these guys, I'm not here to feed them something that's so precious to me. And I know one day we're going to find out. And I know we are. And that's going to be kind of a day. It's going to be good and it's going to be bad. It's like, man. But yeah, years and years of this, and you're on a big drive at first, and then you start getting over the years, you get respect, and you start learning a little different way of doing it, and so yeah, would never want to hurt them. And you know what? I always think if you did hurt one, there's another one there, and you better be ready. So I believe that they do have a social group, and they have more than just, people think there's just one. No, there's a few, and they don't have a count for you. But I know I wouldn't want to hurt them and drag them in, and let them be free and do their thing that they've always done. So keep us at mystery and keep our lives. Heck, wasn't for them. Heck, variety's the spice of life, and going out and doing things with what we do in Bigfoot, and you guys, podcasting and do all your things that you do. yeah, that getting the education out there, not the glorification, and I'm into that. You know, just think what we could do. People talk about watching these Bigfoots and how they're. I tell you a story how one guy said three of them walked up on him, and he says that the mom and the dad and a little one. He says, and the little one walked right up to him and was going, like reaching his hands up and like pick me up. And he said, Kenny, he says, I'd have picked that little one up. But he says, that dad. And I says, yeah. If excuse me, if you would have done something and that little one would have made some type of noise they're not used to, he'd have rogued you. And and I and it was like, but he says that little one was just like it was just like a little kid just wanting to pick up. And I says, you bet. I mean, you gotta I mean, that's a story, but I mean, it's if that's really what something that happened, I'd give anything to be right there. You know what? I probably would have picked the thing up myself. So, but yeah, if they're anything like us, um, I tender they tender their dead. I believe that they don't discard them in a disgraceful way. I think they have a respect there. I think they do conceal them. And that's respect for their kind. And so my kind shouldn't come and be a threat to them. So
Okay, there's a question in the chat from Sherry, and it says, can the tobacco thing attract Bigfoot? Is she talking about your tobacco thing, Jen?
Native people often will gift tobacco to Bigfoot. But I'm sure the question is to our guest. Do you know anything about that?
I thought maybe she might have been hitting on the Erickson project because Dennis was in a lot of tobacco fields, but what I offered them was not tobacco. It would be in a fruit type or animals. I used to give, but no, I have not ever gifted a tobacco. So, huh.
Well, I have gifted tobacco because I'm part Native American, and that's what we're taught to gift. But we've also gifted food alongside of that. But what was interesting is when we were in Indiana, there was a habituated gifting stump there from one other researcher, and we left various kinds of food and some tobacco. And when we went back to check it, the tobacco was gone and some of the food was gone. So that was interesting anyway.
Yeah.
But that it's very like a spiritual gift that you would give. To give tobacco is to give life, energy. So that's the belief under that. So it's a good question. Does it work everywhere? I don't know.
Huh. Worth a try then.
Yeah.
Yeah, my cousin was actually the first Native American Cherokee to win the Miss America pageant. And that was
Hey.
1926. Norma Smallwood, that's a distant cousin on that. She's Native American Cherokee. So yeah, I got a gift in Kentucky a couple years ago. It was left for me on and I found it after a gifting. And it was made out of sweetgrass, and I had to look that up. And then I never really
Sweetgrass to Native people is one of the 4 sacred medicines. Tobacco is one, sweetgrass, cedar, and sage.
Wow. Guys, I got this in a gift. It was wrapped. It's a picture I have on. It was wrapped in sticks, and I didn't know what this was. And I'm in this Kentucky, in this back, and you walk 2 feet back in that forest, you're buried. And
well, that music says we are at the end of the show, so we have to say goodbye and thank you for coming on. And maybe we'll have you on another time. But thanks again, Ken. We've loved having you. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next week, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.